or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at a brand new supporter card, which is going to be coming around in Eevee Heroes. It's Aroma Lady. How cool! I don't think we've had Aroma Lady before. I think this is her debut. Now, of course, shout out to the lovely Antoine Boulet for providing our translation here. And what we've got is a supporter card that lets you draw 2 cards and then remove all special conditions from your active Pokemon. Okay. Now, I'm not sure if either of those things alone are good enough, but we can take them one by one and we can see if we've got better options. I mean, first things first, drawing 2 cards, no. Drawing 2 cards is bad. And we know that drawing 2 cards is bad. This isn't something that really takes a huge amount of deduction or discussion, because we've got Hop. And Hop draws you 3 cards. And that is not a particularly good card. It doesn't see a huge amount of play. Hop is the successor to Howl that drew you 3 cards and didn't see a huge amount of play. Howl is the successor to Tieno that drew you 3 cards and didn't see a huge amount of play. And Tieno was the successor to Cherin that drew 3 cards and didn't see a huge amount of play. And if I missed one, I got them in the wrong order. Come on, they all blend together. My point is, fair to say that drawing 2 cards is not good enough. And if you really want to draw 2 cards, then play Beauty. Because what Beauty does is it draws you 2 cards, but it lets you play it on your first turn of the game going first. And incidentally, it's a terrible card, because essentially you've got to play 4 copies of it to really maximise your chances of drawing on your first turn. But as previously mentioned, drawing 2 is just objectively worse than something like Hop, so there is absolutely no reason to play Beauty unless you really feel confident getting it turn 1, essentially playing a single copy, and that's not possible. So no, drawing 2 is not particularly good. But we do have a history in the Pokemon trading card game of having these cards that draw you 2 while doing something else. And if the something else is good enough, then maybe we can get there. Like in the way that Beauty lets you draw 2, but you also get to play it on your first turn going first, so actually that kind of makes sense. One of the really interesting ones we had a little while ago in Lost Thunder was Kahili, that let you draw 2 cards and then flip a coin, and if heads, if you played Kahili from your hand, you put it back to your hand rather than the discard pile. So it was kind of like a self-perpetuating supporter card. And yet, no. Wasn't a good card. Never saw any play. Because as much as you could keep getting it back, what you kept getting back was a bad card that nobody really wanted to play. But how about Mars? Now, Mars is an interesting one because Mars did see a huge amount of play. In control decks, Mars was really good. Mars was a card that let you draw 2 cards and then discard a random card from your opponent's hand. And this actually made a pretty big deal because hand disruption is good. And okay, it's only 1 card, but in a good control deck where you're controlling your opponent's hand, it actually worked out pretty gosh darn nicely. So that was a draw 2 that ended up seeing a whole bunch of play. Pokemon Breeder was a draw 2 that healed 20 from your active Pokemon, but healing 20 on a supporter is not good enough. So Pokemon Breeder never actually saw any real play. It was consigned to the history books. Little bit sad, but that's how it goes. But then this entire kind of Gen 7 run of these kind of cards was started with Professor Kukui that drew 2 cards and let you do an extra 20 damage, and Kukui saw a huge amount of play. So if we can get rid of special conditions, and that is good enough, it will see play. Mars and Kukui showed us that is true. Incidentally, there are some older cards that drew 2 and did other stuff, but I think we've gone back as far as we need to. We have basically shown that, yes, these will be good if the extra effect is good enough. So what are we doing? We are removing special conditions. And this is kind of a game-winning thing, right? Because if you're paralyzed and can't attack and your opponent gets another turn, that may well be the thing that ends up winning them the game. or if you're asleep and you can't attack, or if you're confused and you risk not attacking and taking damage, which incidentally might KO you if you're low enough on damage, special conditions are frankly super annoying. They are exactly the kind of thing that can win or lose you the game. So being able to get rid of them is clearly a good thing. Being able to get rid of special conditions, paralysis, sleep, whatever it might be, can often be the thing that wins you the game. So I like getting rid of special conditions. I like drawing cards. I mean, we can compare this to Pokemon Center Lady, right? And Pokemon Center Lady healed 60 and special conditions, and incidentally is still legal in the format right now. But if all you want to get rid of is special conditions, you are better off playing this and drawing 2 cards, rather than playing Pokemon Center Lady and not drawing any cards. If you want to heal up as well, obviously Pokemon Center Lady is better. So we do have a supportive version of getting rid of special conditions. Honestly, for just special conditions, I would rather have this. The thing is, if I want to get rid of special conditions, we have better options. One of my favourite options is Galarian Rapidash. And Galarian Rapidash is kind of the point where I start worrying about this card. Because Galarian Rapidash has the ability Pastel Veil, your Pokemon recover from all special conditions when Rapidash enters play, and cannot be affected by any special conditions. So essentially what that means is, I've got a Stage 1 Pokemon that I can whack on my bench. And it is going to take a single space in my deck, well, on my bench, 2 spots in my deck, maybe more. But then not only do I get around stuff like paralysis, but I'll get rid of burn and poison before they actually do any damage to me. And I like this a lot. For a very brief period before rotation, though there is a chance that a rotation happens on the same day this is legal, a pretty good chance. But we do currently have Gabalion GX that says each of your Pokemon with any metal energy attached can't be affected by special conditions, and you remove any special conditions that are already affecting them. And you know what? Gabalion saw play. Gabalion has not been a staple in a whole bunch of decks. I'm not going to pretend it has been. But we've seen Gabalion see in a few plays. In the same way, we actually saw that the Comfey from Guardians Rising saw a little bit of play because any of your Pokemon with fairy energy attached to them could not be affected by any special conditions. So my point is, we've had cards like this in the past that have seen a bunch of play. The question is, would you rather have a one-off tech supporter, which can essentially just get rid of the special conditions now and doesn't take up as much space in your deck and doesn't take up space on your bench? Or would you rather just play Galarian Rapidash and just be protected? The thing is, Galarian Rapidash has been out since Sword and Shield base came out, and it hasn't really seen a significant amount of play. We like one-off tech supporters, especially when we can play stuff like Palpad that will get them back into our deck so we can use them multiple times. And essentially what I'm telling you is this. Here is my conclusion. Sometimes there are decks that use special conditions and they wreck you. And you've got to have an answer to special conditions. In that situation, this is as good an answer as any. I could see the argument for Galarian Rapidash, but it's a lot more space in your deck and it takes up a bench space. I could see the argument for Pokemon Center Lady, but a lot of the time playing a non-draw supporter means you don't draw cards. Just drawing 2 cards while healing special conditions can really be the difference. And if you're just trying to get around something like Confusion or Paralysis, just getting rid of special conditions will be enough. Not to mention, of course, that Pokemon Center Lady has Regulation Mark D, but Aroma Lady has Regulation Mark E, so will last in the format for 1 year beyond Pokemon Center Lady, unless we get a reprint with an updated Regulation Mark. But that's why we're using it. I don't think this is going to be a staple in every deck. I don't think it's even going to be a one-off tech in a whole bunch of decks. What I think about this card is it gives a nice option for anyone that is worried about special conditions. And if there is a particular matchup you're worried about, this can absolutely help you. So I'm giving it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies. That would be barbaric. I ain't here to argue this is some phenomenal, game-breaking, ridiculous card. but I am telling you that it is exactly the kind of card that you need to bear in mind, because against some particular matchups, this could be the difference. And if you need to heal paralysis and you need to get an energy right now or you're going to lose the game, there are very few other cards around that are going to do it, but Aroma Lady absolutely can. That's what I think, at least. I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.